regarded them as idolatrous. Despite that, archaeologists are still finding Buddhist relics in different parts of the country, some of them dating back to the 2nd century. As there was no colonialism in the modern era in Afghanistan, European-style architecture is rare but does exist. The Victory Arch at Pigman and the Darul Aman Palace in Kabul were built in this style in the 1920s by the Afghans themselves. Carpet weaving is an ancient practice in Afghanistan, and many of these are still handmade by tribal and nomadic people today. Carpets have been produced in the region for thousands of years and traditionally done by women. Some crafters express their feelings through the designs of rugs. For example, after the outbreak of the Soviet-Afghan War, war rugs, a variant of Afghan rugs, were created with designs representing pain and misery caused by the conflict. Every province has its own specific characteristics in making rugs. In some of the Turkic-populated areas in the northwest, bride and wedding ceremony prices are driven by the bride's weaving skills. Pottery has been crafted in Afghanistan for millennia. The village of Istalif, north of Kabul, is in particular a major center, known for its unique turquoise and green pottery. 476 and their methods of crafting have remained the same for centuries. Much of lapis lazuli stones were earthed in modern-day Afghanistan, which were used in Chinese porcelain as cobalt blue, later used in ancient Mesopotamia and Turkey. The lands of Afghanistan have a long history of art, with the world's earliest known usage of oil painting found in cave murals in the country. A notable art style that developed in Afghanistan and eastern Pakistan is Gandhara art, produced by a fusion of Greco-Roman art and Buddhist art between the 1st and 7th centuries CE. 482 later eras saw increased use of the Persian miniature style, with Kamaluddin Behzad of Herat being one of the most notable miniature artists of the Timurid and early Safavid periods. Since the 1900s, the nation began to use Western techniques in art. Abdul Ghaffar Breshina was a prominent Afghan painter and sketch artist from Kabul during the 20th century. Media and Entertainment main article, Media of Afghanistan. Afghanistan has around 350 radio stations and over 200 television stations. Radio Television Afghanistan, originating from 1925, is the state public broadcaster. Television programs began airing in the 1970s and today there are many private television channels such as Tolo and Shamshad TV. The first Afghan newspaper was published in 1873, and there are hundreds of print outlets today. By the 1920s, Radio Kabul was broadcasting local radio services. Voice of America, BBC, and Radio Free Europe Radio Liberty RFERL broadcast in both of Afghanistan's official languages on radio. Press restrictions have been gradually relaxed and private media diversified since 2002, after more than 2 decades of tight controls. Afghans have long been accustomed to watching Indian Bollywood films and listening to its filmy songs. It has been claimed that Afghanistan is among the biggest markets for the Hindi film industry. The stereotypes of Afghans in India, Kabuliwala or Pathani, have also been represented in some Bollywood films by actors. Many Bollywood film stars have roots in Afghanistan, including Salman Khan, Saif Ali Khan, Amir Khan, Feroz Khan, Kader Khan, Nasiruddin Shah, Zareen Khan, Selina Jiley, and a number of others. Several Bollywood films have been shot inside Afghanistan, including Dharmatma, Kudagawa, Escape from Taliban, and Kabul Express. Afghan classical music has close historical links with Indian classical music and use the same Hindustani terminology and theories like raga. Genres of this style of music include ghazal, poetic music, and instruments such as the Indian tabla, sitar and harmonium, and local instruments like zurbagali, as well as day-array and tanbur, which are also known in Central Asia, the Caucasus and the Middle East. The rubab is the country's national instrument and precurses the Indian sarod instrument. Some of the famous artists of classical music include Ustad Sarhang and Sarban. Pop music developed in the 1950s through Radio Kabul and was influential in social change. During this time female artists also started appearing, at first Merman Parwin. Perhaps the most famous artist of this genre was Ahmad Zahir, who synthesized many genres and continues to be renowned for his voice and rich lyrics long after his death in 1979. Other notable masters of traditional or popular Afghan music include Nashehnaz, Ubaidullah Jan, Mahwash, Ahmad Wali, Farhad Darya, and Nagma. Atan is the national dance of Afghanistan, a group dance popularly performed by Afghans of all backgrounds. The dance is considered part of Afghan identity. Naan bread from a local baker, the most widely consumed bread in Afghanistan. Afghan cuisine is largely based upon the nation's chief crops, such as wheat, maize, barley and rice. Accompanying these staples are native fruits and vegetables as well as dairy products such as milk, yogurt and whey. Kabuli palaw is the national dish of Afghanistan. The nation's culinary specialties reflect its ethnic and geographic diversity. Afghanistan is known for its high-quality pomegranates, grapes, and sweet melons. Tea is a favorite drink among Afghans, and a typical diet consists of naan, yogurts, rice and meat. Classic Persian and Pashto poetry are a cherished part of Afghan culture. Poetry has always been one of the major educational pillars in the region, to the level that it has integrated itself into culture. One of the poetic styles is called lande. A popular theme in Afghan folklore and mythology are divs, monstrous creatures. Thursdays are traditionally poetry night in the city of Herat when men, women and children gather and recite both ancient and modern poems. The Afghan region has produced countless Persian-speaking poets and writers from the Middle Ages to the present day, among which 3 mystical authors are considered true national glories although claimed with equal ardor by Iran, namely, Khwaja Abdullah Ansari of Herat, a great mystic and Sufi saint in the 11th century, Sanai of Ghazni, author of mystical poems in the 12th century, and, finally, Rumi of Balkh, in the 13th century, considered the Persophonist throughout the world as the greatest mystical poet of the entire Muslim world. The Afghan Pashto literature, although quantitatively remarkable and in great growth in the last century, has always had an essentially local meaning and importance, feeling the influence of both Persian literature and the contiguous literatures of India. Both main literatures, from the second half of the 19th century, have shown themselves to be sensitive to genres novel, theater, movements and stylistic features imported from Europe. Kushal Khan Ghatak of the 17th century is considered the national poet. Other notable poets include Rabia Balkhi, Jami, Rahman Baba, Khalilullah Khalili, and Perween Peshwak. Haft-Mua 7 fruit syrup is popularly consumed during Nowruz in Afghanistan. Popularly consumed